What's going on, Blue Crew? It's your boy Big Blue here with another Borderlands 3 video for you. I did it. I made an Iron Bear build. I call it the Iron Giant because it does plenty of damage. It actually sustains itself with the grenades from the corrosive side, and the splash damage from the Railgun side is crazy. Let's roll that intro. What's up? So the first thing I want to show you guys is, you see I had 226 armor there. I hopped out of my Iron Bear. The reason I did that is because of the shield that I'm using, which is the multivitamin shield. I have it with the anointment to increase my shields by 75% and my health. So I'm going to hop back in once my cooldown's over and go from that 226 to 330, almost 331k shields. Now I'm ready to do it. You don't always have to do it, but it is nice to have that extra little increase if you do need it. Just wanted to throw that out there. Right now I am using it in the version that I was using in the Takedown, from the clips that you will see later on in this video. This version here isn't as strong because I don't really need that corrosive damage as much. Pure shock damage would be enough to kill everybody. One of the good things about those corrosive grenades, the reason that I do use those corrosive grenades, they have a splash is good for the Takedown because it has the corrosive first off. Secondly, it heals you if you are in Iron Bear or if you're out of Iron Bear and your Iron Bear is still up, because it does splash damage, so you actually heal your Iron Bear health. If you look at my Iron Bear, you'll see it going down and you'll see it coming back up because of that grenade that I'm using. I'm going to switch up here and go ahead and switch to the actual double Railgun version instead of the grenade corrosive version. So let me do that real fast. Okay, so I switched. Now you see I have both of my other ones. I have my health back. I'm all ready to keep going. So the reason the Railgun does so much more damage than the actual grenade that I was using before, the corrosive one. So it does arc damage. If you're going to look, you see that? That's splash damage, AoE damage, area of effect damage. Which the difference between area of effect damage and splash damage or splash damage radius is area of effect damage increases your splash damage radius, and your splash damage increases both with that one. So it's really nice. But you see how it arcs when I'm close enough to enemies, or if they're close enough to enemies? That's what increases the damage so much and makes me able to kill things so fast. You don't regenerate as much armor as you do with the grenade, but you still do regenerate some. Maybe the game isn't registering the splash damage the right way from those arcs, but it gives us the damage but not the actual armor regen. Or maybe the armor regen isn't supposed to be a thing at all. Let me know what you think in the comments. So on all my guns, whenever I do have to get out of Iron Bear, I'm using like splash annoyance. When I say splash annoyance, I don't mean like ones that increase just that gun. I mean like they increase my overall splash damage for, I think, 18 seconds? And my Iron Bear lasts 15 seconds after I get out of it with Auto Bear. Sometimes I could have it back up if I'm doing enough splash damage, so I don't even have to worry about it. Like he's still up and I can just jump on a new one and that one will explode. It's really rare though. You have to really have like the perfect splash damage weapon. And I'm using boomsicles and I'm using a Kib's worth. So I have really good splash damage weapons, but it seems like I need something better. So you see what I mean by arc to everybody? Like it hits one guy and then usually everybody follows. Surprisingly enough, those arcs actually do quite a bit of damage on bosses too. Once I get over here to Tron here in a second, you'll see and you'll know exactly what I mean. It actually hit the guy upstairs too. One thing I will recommend for mobbing is, instead of firing both at one time like you're going to see me do on Tron and bosses, I say fire one at a time. It makes it so you can arc lightning constantly and kill more mobs faster. That's a good shot. So as soon as they land, I try to hit one person because then it arcs out to everybody. So with this Iron Bear build, with the Iron Giant build, I don't have to change anything once we get to Trun. I just jump straight in and fight them. So this will work a little bit different depending on what your Guardian rank is. But if you're looking up builds and things like this, I'm assuming you probably have Guardian rank already. My Guardian rank is kind of high, so I understand that most builds that I do won't work exactly the same for you. If you don't have the same amount of like action skill cooldown rate, this one may not work the same for you. But other than that, it should work exactly the same for anybody who tries it. Shouldn't be any problems. Didn't take me long at all to kill Trun. As you've seen, those lightning arcs are what really did the most damage. Okay, now I'm gonna get into a clip of Wotan. I just wanted to show you guys that yes, it can do the takedown. Like I said earlier, you'd have to use the grenade version. So you do lose some of that shock damage, but it's fine because it makes up with it if you're close enough. You get those tendrils like that, and you can get your health back with those grenades. See how long I was barely able to hold on there with my Iron Bear? Vampire is actually how I'm getting on my lifesteal. That's probably one of the main things I do not like about Moze. You don't have many lifesteal abilities, so I'm using Vampire to keep myself alive. I barely was able to do so for a second there. I'm trying to use grenades that spawn multiple grenades, and they have like AoE damage, so it goes with the build, and it just gives me a better chance to actually get some healing from it. But it's honestly not an easy thing to do with Moze. It takes some adjusting, that's for sure. Coming from like Amara, because I'm an Amara main, it is a completely different playstyle, I must admit. Even the interactions between like anointments are different for Moze than they are for Amara. They're completely different the way, like which type of anointments you choose. Like Amara, you want to choose Elemental because she's an Elemental powerhouse, while on Moze you want to go for maybe splash damage or reload speed, or like something that's going to increase where you don't have to reload as much. You know, it's like that's the kind of things you would never use on Amara, and I find that funny. Yeah, I do go down here, but I end up being able to get up, hopping back in the Iron Bear, really getting some damage out. As you can see, you're not unkillable with this build, but if you do like playing the Iron Bear and you want to have fun with it and actually be able to do Mayhem 4, which soon will be, you know, completely different, but give you the opportunity to be able to play something, here's your opportunity. Also, let me know what you think about like Mayhem, the new Mayhem mode, Mayhem 2.0, you know, with all the way up to Mayhem 10. Really reminds me of Borderlands 2, and if it's that kind of system, the damage that we're going to see is going to be crazy when you get to Mayhem 10. I mean billions and billions of damage. It is gonna be insane. Let me know what you think in the comments, exactly how it's gonna be. But there you have it, guys. Takedown confirmed. Let's actually get into the build now. So let's get right into the build. I'm using two different types of boom sickles. I'm using a pestilence boom sickle just for the corrosive damage. They both have the same anointment on it, by the way, too, with the gain 100%, 160% increased splash damage for 18 seconds. Storming boom sickle, using this one just because it is shock variant of the boom sickle. Same anointment as the previous boom sickle. Abundant projectile recursion. So this is pretty much what showed me I could increase my damage when I'm outside of I found this out while I was on stream, and I made a different build with just grenades to get money, and I ended up going from a ridiculous number. I went from like 13 million to like 71 million, almost maxing out my money with this crazy build I did. But I found this out about this anointment because of that. It's the splash anointment, which increased my grenader, minesweeper damage. It was crazy. It was crazy how it worked. But anyways, it's a really good gun, and it splashes between people. I tried to do this before without the Mendels. I tried to do it with this same old god I use a lot because it would increase the shock damage. But my Iron Bear couldn't sustain, like he wouldn't stay alive long enough for me to do much, so I had to switch it. Using this Kib's worth just because of the extra weapon damage, and it is corrosive and cryo, which is nice. Efficient reinforced Raging Bear. Raging Bear is really good for this build for multiple reasons. Because whenever Iron Bear kills an enemy, it gains decreased fuel usage. So whenever I'm killing people in Iron Bear, my fuel usage goes down and down, so I'm in it longer. And whenever Iron Bear takes damage, it gains increased damage. So the more they attack me, that's why I have that huge 330,000 shield. The more they attack me, the more damage I actually do to them too. Plus I increase that splash damage, which in turn increases that railgun damage, the little arcs I was telling you about earlier, increases that damage. I'm using a recurring hex. This grenade, honestly, you could mix it out with something else. Like there's plenty of other grenades. Let's see. I don't know if I'd go for a Merv hex, but it could work. I have all kinds of different grenades. I tried it with the Quasar. It was a little too weird. It didn't work. Mervtacular hex. This thing would be perfect for it. Even something like this, Money Vindicator Tracker, would work really well with it. It's just whatever you prefer to use, or something like this, you know. There's all kinds of little things you could use. For my my artifact, I'm using this Last Stand Victory Rush just for some more sustain to help keep me alive even longer. When my health goes down to 50%, you know, I go invulnerable for a couple seconds, and that helps me stay alive. And when I kill a badass, you know, I trigger a Victory Rush, which gives me the damage, the movement speed, plus 18% for 60 seconds, which is nice. Assault rifle damage, which I'm using assault rifles right here. Area of effect damage, which is splash damage radius and splash damage increase in 1, if you did not know that. And 50% magazine, just so I can have more magazine. In my skill tree, I'll go over really fast. Demolition Woman, main things I put in here. So the main thing I want to note that I did in here is Grizzled. I didn't put all my points into Grizzled. I was told that it has diminishing returns, even though you're getting your action skill back faster because you're using Grizzled. In turn, I put 2 in Grizzled, and I put 1 into Explosive Punctuation. I was gonna do 2, but to make this work how I wanted it to, I couldn't. I could take the point I put in Torque Cross Promotion and put it into Vampire, or I could put it into Explosive Punctuation, but my damage would have been a lot less if I would have done it a different way. So I decided to keep it this way. Using Means of Destruction just for the ammo chance and the grenade chance. Fire and the Skag Den just for that incendiary damage. Not that I need that extra incendiary damage, I won't be doing it most of the time. It's mostly for to go farther down the tree. Both of these like incendiary, but this is like fuel draining. What else? I have 7 points in the Stainless Steel Bear. Really important, maximum fuel, Iron Bear armor, and Iron Bear damage. In the Shield of Retribution tree, I have 1 point security board just for that extra bubble. That bubble when I do get out of my Iron Bear keeps me alive a couple of seconds usually. I'm using Armored Infantry just for that gun damage and damage reduction. Light Off Ingenuity is so I can stay alive. honestly. So when I do have to get out of Iron Bear, I can live. Same thing with Thin Red Line, it gives me the extra shields. Drowning in Brass, some extra damage when I'm out of Iron Bear. Experimental Munitions, just for that bonus incendiary damage, because I already took a cut in my incendiary damage over here on Fire in the Skag Den, so I wanted to try to get it back over here. I think one of my major damage dealers right here is Desperate Measures. I had it set up differently before, but Desperate Measures made the damage go up so much more and it made it so much better. Like 2 Railguns is actually viable. In the Bottomless Mag tree, I have Cloud of Lead, bonus incendiary damage every 4 shots, more incendiary damage with Stoke the Embers. I'm using Redistribution, so when I do hit those critical shots, I can get some of my ammo regen back. Using this just because like the type of weapons that I am using. That's the reason I'm using Scrappy. I'm using shotguns, I'm using assault rifles, I was using a Scourge for a while here, but I ended up changing it out. Scorching RPMs just for that fire rate, critical hit damage, and that Iron Bear damage. Hard increases that I need. Specialist Bear, Iron Bear damage. Can't go wrong with Iron Bear damage. So that is the build. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody who stopped over in the Twitch and said, over into the Facebook or the live stream and said, hey, if you're not following me on Twitch, go follow me on Twitch. If you're not on my Facebook, go follow and like my Facebook. I'm trying to build a whole community, and I'd really appreciate the support. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As always, Blue Crew, stay medicated, stay elevated. To the next one. Peace.